This is a little weird. I started this video last year. I decided to film this video now. Please excuse my shiny face. I need to go and take off my makeup and take a shower. I feel like if I didn't do it now, I'll probably never do it, and I really want to do this video. Anyway, the last clip you would have seen was last year. Basically, the title is self-explanatory. I'm just explaining how I got this job, because I know a lot of people kind of wonder how people get this job, and first off, you just have to apply. And yeah, but we'll get there. So the last clips, I think I had just gotten my first aid and flight attendant swimming certification. The swimming certification you definitely need. That lasts for 3 years. If you had it and it's expiring, you're gonna have to do it again, kind of thing. The first aid also expires, so you'll need to do that again. The reason this video is a year long is because that time when I did those things, I was kind of rushing. You were supposed to send in your email to people in the HR department. I never get called. Now, in May, while I was in Scotland, they posted on their website that they had vacancies for cabin crew. So I was like, do I do this again? Obviously, I really wanted the job, and I really thought that this would be a good career for me. So I decided, well, I have nothing to lose, I might as well apply again. They changed the way to apply. Basically, fill out an online application on their website. So you create a profile for yourself, fill that out, and within that profile, you can upload a soft copy of your resume, of your CV, stuff like that, and your certificates. So that happened May 19th. I don't know when they actually posted it, but I saw it and applied on May 19th, 2019. May. We're in October, and I'm now filming this part. I applied, fill out my application, put in my resume, put in my certificates, and hope for the best. That's all you can do. You cannot do anything past that point. Just apply. They probably had thousands. I don't know. I'm just guessing, but I assume that a lot of people would have applied for this position. Then they will contact you via email. So they would say something like, congratulations, you have been selected for the first phase of this selection process. And for the I don't know who dog is that, but they need to hush. Right. So the first phase of the selection process, this is after you applied, is that they're inviting you to do a general knowledge test. They're not going to ask you math and English questions from CXC. I mean, they kind of did. They were math questions, but not like sin and tan and algebra. It was kind of situational. Did I just speak English? It was kind of situational questions. So it was math hidden in the form of maybe a passenger wants to buy something. The general knowledge test includes math, geography. When I say geography, I don't mean go and study, tectonic plates. You should know which islands have volcanoes, like what are some of the tourism attractions in certain places, things like that. CARICOM stuff. So like you should know social and socio-economic information about the Caribbean. So you should know about CARICOM, you should know about currencies in different islands, stuff like that. Basically, just make it make sense. What do you think you'd need to know to be in this position? And that's the general knowledge. A good idea would be to study the website. Well, obviously, if you've done first aid, they're going to ask you about first aid and health stuff. I think my friend told me that the general knowledge test was coming, so I want to say preparing beforehand, but you realize more than a month passed since I even applied, and I didn't hear anything between that time. The 24th I got the email, the 25th I got the instructions, and the instructions said to complete the test by a certain time period on the 26th. So there wasn't really a lot of time to prepare, so you should have been studying the people website before. Did the general knowledge test. Now, personally, I felt like I failed. I felt like some of the questions I answered really well, and then I felt like some of them I trashed. Like there were some abbreviations that they asked if you knew, and I didn't know them. Now that I'm in training, I know the abbreviations now, and it's things that have to do with the aviation industry. So as a layman, I don't think I would have known it. But I guess if you're into aviation and you really want this job, you would have kind of come across it maybe before. I came home from Scotland on the 19th of July. So that was a Friday, the 19th of July. The Monday, I don't want to lie, either the Monday or the Tuesday, my phone rang and they called to say that I had passed the general knowledge test and I was invited to bring in my documents into the head office, and I had to do a BMI and reach test. So the documents are things like 2 passport size photos with a white background, your police certificate of good character, so that's something you want to have prepared beforehand because those only last 3 months and it takes a while to get. It takes like 2 weeks to get. Your birth certificate and your education certificates. If you have, obviously your passport, because they want to see that you have. So obviously, people, don't apply to this job if you don't have a passport. Please go and get your passport. So they want to see your passport, and if you have any visas as well, the US visa and the Canadian visa, that might be helpful. I brought in those documents on, that would have been the 23rd, 24th of July, and I did my BMI test there, and the reach test is obviously to see your height and if you can reach the overhead lockers. Now there's no testing involved at that point, so, well, except for the fact that, I mean, you might fail the reach test, you might be too short, and you could actually be too tall for certain planes, so you have to be a certain height and a certain weight. So in terms of that part, that's not really a test, but you can leave the process at this point. You can kind of have to drop out at that point. So it would have been about the 7th of August. I was invited to an interview, like a face-to-face interview for the position. This is your make or break. So this is the part where you go and you meet, you'll have a panel of different people in the company. It could be from the director of in-flight services to the HR manager. Anybody could be interviewing you. You never know. You have to go obviously in business attire, in jeans, and you have to be prepared. When I say prepared, study the website. Everything that they asked on the general knowledge test, well, not everything, but most things that they asked on the general knowledge test came back up in my interview. They obviously asked. So when you think an interview, you might think that they're asking you about personal stuff, like how would you deal with if you realize you and a coworker didn't get along or something like that, and they will ask you stuff like that. But they also ask you stuff specific about the fleet, about the job in specific. So you have never been a flight attendant, that does not matter. They are asking you questions as if you are already a flight attendant. So they'll ask you situational questions like, a passenger has such and such problem, how are you going to deal with it? So you need to be on the ball. Now what I did, I like YouTube videos, so I searched up flight attendant videos and I didn't even realize that there was so many. But what hurt is that there were none, absolutely none, could not find one that I found from a Caribbean person. So this is why I'm doing this video in the first place. I find that we should really, be represented because our airline is quite different. Not bad, not better, just different. So I think, yeah, these videos might be helpful to some people. What was I saying? Hey, rambling. So the interview was on the 14th of August. My interview, I think, lasted almost an hour. So yeah, be prepared to be in there for a while. I think I'll do a video about interviews maybe later on. So let me give you the timeline so far. We have application May 19th, general test June 26th, BMI test July 23rd or 4th, interview 14th of August. Everything is almost a month apart. There's just time periods where you're wondering, oh my god, did I get the boot? Did I get cut? What's going on? Now, thankfully, they told us in the interview, from this point, they'll be contacting us even if we don't get through. So if you reach the interview point, you will get some kind of confirmation whether you're in or out. After the interview, I'm seeing here on the 3rd of September, I got an email inviting me to do a pre-hire medical. Now at this point, kinda, you are basically in. Because, why I say that, they're not going to give you they're not going to invite you to do the pre-hire medical if they don't want to hire you, because they pay for the medical, you don't pay for that medical. So the pre-hire medical is basically them wanting to know if you are physically sound to do this job. This is a physically demanding job. So the pre-hire medical includes a blood test, well, many blood tests, but they draw blood and they take x-rays. This is a good thing to know before you go in to apply for this position. If you know you have medical conditions that are not conducive to this job, don't bother to apply and waste people's time and your time. You realize how long this process is. You're just wasting time. Let me get you the results of my blood test. I found out that my blood count is low. Now, I think I always knew that because I'm always cold, so I have to take extra iron with my vitamins kind of thing. So obviously that's not something that they'll cancel you for, but it's something good to know. I don't know what results from the medical would make them not take you. Let's put it that way. From the x-rays, they're looking to see if your spine is straight, I guess, because one of the tests I remember seeing the results for scoliosis. So I think they're testing to see if you are able to, because remember, flight attendants basically walk the destinations. You sit down in your seat for takeoff and landing, but you're walking up and down the aisles from Port of Spain to New York. So imagine walking from Port of Spain to New York. You're walking a lot. I think they're testing to see if your spine can take it, if your lungs, definitely your lungs. They're checking for TB, I remember, tuberculosis, that kind of thing. That was on the 6th of September, and then I had to wait on the results. The results were sent straight to them. We never got the results. I did see the results when I went in again, but I still don't have them. We never got them to keep. After the results of those medicals, when they got the results, they emailed us again and told us to come in for another medical. Now, this is not a medical like another blood test and x-ray. This is with the company doctor, where he or she would go, well, for me it was a she. She went through the results of our medical test, and then she did her own physical. So whereas the lab does tests, the doctor will do a physical, just to make sure that you're sound for work. And once you pass that, training. Now, we were told training would start on October the 14th. So yeah, from September to October. So October started the 14th. Training started on October the 14th. And it's the 21st. So I'm in my second week of training. To be honest, it's been so intense. It's been so much information. Right now I'm at information overload. My brain is frying and it does not stop. I have homework to go and do now. I don't know why I'm sitting down talking to this camera for the past 26 minutes, but yeah, I have homework to do. To this point, I'm still not hired. So my employment will only start if I'm successful with the training, because obviously training includes assessments and tests. So I have to pass all those tests and assessments. Security and background. I didn't tell you about the security and background check. I don't remember. I didn't write it down. I don't remember what date it was, but it had to have been in September, coming down to the end of September. There is a point where they are going to run a security and background check on you. They are fully investigating you with a proper investigator. He comes around like to your neighborhood and questions your neighbors. He comes to your house to have an interview with you. He will question your references that you put on your application. He will ask for character references like your friends. They're gonna look at your social media. They're gonna delve into your educational background, your work history. They're gonna they're gonna go into your schools, stuff like that. It's really intense. Obviously, because this job is very high security. You are literally working for an airline. You're working in the airport. They can't be lapse. They can't lapse with security for obvious reasons. So yeah, that's a major part of it. Provided that you pass those security and background checks, they will also talk to your references. Once you pass all those things, then you're hired. Okay, you're hired, but you're not permanent. There is a probationary period where they will be monitoring you on the job. So you're working, you're getting paid, but you're still on probation. So should you lapse and should you start to do a pack of nonsense, they'll give you the boot and they will mix no matters about it, because it's a serious business. That is all I have to say about the process so far. In terms of getting the job, I haven't gotten the job yet, so take this with a grain of salt. I think I will end this video here. So even though I'm just now going through training, I'm going to stop this video here. Obviously, if it's posted, it's because I started as in I passed my assessments and all of that, and I've been employed. Thanks for watching. I will see y'all when I see y'all. Bye. I really hate my life. All I had to do is that whole video, the girl was shining, and none of they say anything. Or they fake. Or they real fake. Look how great. Shame, you know. All I had to do was pat my nose.